News can either give you a very high quality setup during the news or the next day after the news. So in this video, we are going to talk about high quality setups after the news. In our case yesterday, the CPI really murdered the market. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. If you want to learn this strategy, I have a free mentorship program. Link will be in the description. Let's jump into the video. Alright, so news. What is the function of news according to my own perspective? Number one is news will either accelerate an existing setup or it will build up to set up for another high quality setup. Now, the first thing that we do the next day after we have news is filter out the days that the news completely destroyed. And that requires us to understand what a breakout is and what a failed breakout is. So let's look at a scenario here. So this is the equation and we will use it. If we have a failed breakout at the high, that means that day we have a very high likelihood of having a reversal, so sell high. Let's look at the complete opposite of this statement, which is failed breakout. Opposite of it is breakout at the high is equal to buy low the next day. I know this can be confusing, but let's just play with this idea for a second. So let's look at those two scenarios. We have the high there. Now, when you have a failed breakout, price breaks out of the high of the week. So say this is Monday's high. On Tuesday, price breaks out, but then at the close, it closes back inside of the range. What does that mean? It means that the next day we might have an opportunity to continue selling like that. I know this is very simple, this is very clear. Let's look at the complete opposite of that statement, which is we have a breakout. That is the high of Monday, and then price breaks out. So let's give that high there. On Tuesday, price breaks out and closes outside of the range. Then the possibility of price continuing with the trend is very high. That is why we buy low. Always buy low. Like if you're trying to buy, always buy at the low of the day. Or if you're trying to sell high, sell at the high of the day. Now, keep this in mind because these statements will come in handy later. Moving on. Alright, so let's filter out instruments that have a high probability of giving us setups. So let's start with US 30. If we look at US 30, Monday set the high and the low of the day. And then Tuesday, price breaks out and closes outside of the range. In our case, this is not anything I am interested in because my signal day is look for a failed breakout. Alright, so all we do is we extend our low to that level and wait for today to see what today we will do. Same as GBP card. We have the low, we have the high here. Price breaks out, closes outside of the range. Nothing interesting for us. This another Aussie dollar breaks out, closes outside of the range. Nothing interesting for us. And this is how I filter out the pairs that I want to focus on a single day. You can see I have a basket of around 10 pairs, 10 to 11 pairs. But in any single day, I'll be focusing on around 2 to 5 pairs. Now, you can see this is the same trend. Now, let's look at the pairs that I have already isolated. We have the Great Britain pound. So, if we look at this, we have the high of the week here on Monday. So, price breaks out and comes back and closes outside of the range. So, outside of the low of the week. Remember what we talked about in that equation. Failed breakout means sell, and then breakout means continue selling. Let's demonstrate that again. We have the high here and we have the low here. So we had the failed breakout. So Monday set the high, Tuesday had the failed breakout that came back and closed outside of the range of the week. Now, remember what we talked about breakouts. If we have a high and a low, and then price on any given day, we have a low. Remember, a failed breakout, if we close inside, means buy low. But if we close outside, means continue selling the next day. So to me, this is two signals at once. Moving on to the trading day, we are waiting for the setup. So just because the market has given us a signal day does not mean that every single day we will get a setup. We wait for a specific setup and we follow a 7-step process when we are looking for our setup. So looking at gold has given us a nice and everything is forming nicely. So let's start with number 1, timing window. So this is the Asian session. My timing window begins at 8 to 11. So 23. All right. Then high and the low of the day. This is the high and the low is this low here prior to the first hour. So where is our beginning of the day? Yes. So this is the low, this is the high prior to my window opening. And then let the first hour close. Look at the first hour from 20 to 20:45. The price pins the low. All right. So we extend our low to that level. This is what I mean by extend high and low accordingly. If price pins either the high or the low, or breaks out of the high and the low in our first hour, that is when we adjust the high or the low. But if price is inside the high and the low, there's no need of changing the high or the low because eventually we are looking at those highs. Now, the next step is waiting for a breakout. Now, as we are waiting for a breakout, in the second hour, we pinned the high. So every time we have a pin at the high, I extend that high because price usually comes back to that level. So what I want to see is a breakout here. So I don't know if we are going to have a breakout, but so far gold is giving me nice vibes. If we have a breakout, then look for the 1, 2, 3. Now we already have 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, if we are selling, it's just 1 up, 1 down, and then the candle up for breakout. So we have this move here. This is 1, and then these 2 candles here. This is 2. So 1, 2, and then if they close 3 candles, I don't really care. Point being, this number 2. So number 2 must be 2 consecutive candles or more. And then now for this move, it's the one we don't have. We wait for this move to come back to this level and break out and give us a 1 candle breakout. We just want to see a 1 candle breakout here like that. And then the next candle, I want it to be bearish like that. So if I see this breakout and then this candle bearish, so that would be my entry at the close of that candle, a few pips above the high, and then I would be targeting the low of the day. So that is how I look for high quality setups after the news. So backtest it, look at what is happening, And if you got value from today's video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.